Hello, you beautiful nerds. Marvel's first female Avenger has finally had her debut on the big screen, and boy has it been a long time coming. I've been waiting for a James Bond type Black Widow movie for a while now. It's a little weird that we're getting a prequel movie about a character that's dead. Spoilers, I guess. I mean, let's be honest, you're not clicking on this thumbnail if you've never seen Endgame. But whatever, now that it's here, let's chat about it for a bit. So smoke some Black Widow and drink a White Russian. You know, cause she's white and she's a Russian person. And let's talk about... Before we get started, go ahead and smash that like button. Just smash that thing real hard. Just beat the fucking shit out of it. I'm just kidding, don't do that. Just like the video now, and if you hate it later, just click the thumbs down. I'll take a dislike. I need the engagement. So this movie takes place after the events of Captain America Civil War. You know, when the movie should have been made. While Natasha is on the run from Thunderbolt Ross, her long-lost sister comes back into her life. Now they both have to dismantle a nearly century-old mind control espionage project with the help of their batshit crazy parents, who are just awful. I still think they're awful. There is a lot to like about this one. We get to find out what Black Widow meant in the Avengers when she said,
I got red in my ledger. I'd like to wipe it out.
Can you wipe out that much red? Dracov's daughter.
She thinks that she straight up blew up a baby. That's right. Marvel made a movie with baby murder in it, or at least baby murder implications. I thought it would have been a bit more interesting if the girl didn't survive. I mean, I'm not like pro baby murder, Black Widow was a spy in a war-torn country. It's very believable that she killed some people that she didn't mean to. But either way, I really like the way they talked about her trauma and touched on things like human trafficking. I also really dug the way the movie was shot. Back when Kate Shortland got hired as the director, I went and watched her indie thriller Berlin Syndrome. It's a really good film, but I was immediately like, this looks great, but Black Widow isn't gonna look anything like this. In Berlin Syndrome, there are a lot of tight shots and handheld, intimate shots, and in this movie, that style is surprisingly present, even in the fight scenes. It keeps that intimate shakiness, but they also don't cut every second like a fight scene in a Taken or a Bourne movie. We actually get to see the complexity of the fight choreography. I'm not the first person to point out that all these Marvel movies kind of look the same, and that kind of makes sense. After all, they do exist in the same universe, but it does rob the directors of their vision a little bit. Have you ever seen Half Nelson? Yeah, that looks nothing like Captain Marvel. Even Taika Waititi's movies don't really look anything like Ragnarok, but this feels like a Kate Shortland film, and kudos to her for really being the first director to pull that off in the MCU. The movie is pretty damn good, I'm not gonna lie. Why would I? That would be a weird thing to lie about. However, even though this movie does a lot of things right, there are a few things I didn't like. It's kind of only two things. Number one, a slowed down version of Smells Like Teen Spirit? Really? I mean, I love Nirvana, but their music does not belong in these movies. And this in particular was really bad. This is like what a trailer house does when they're trying to convince you to take Michael Bay's new movie seriously. When I saw this at the top, I was like, oh no. Is this a bad movie? But then when the movie got going, I really liked it. The story was really compelling and all the actors had really great chemistry with each other. The only other thing that really bothered me was, like, most of the third act. The whole plan at the end of the movie is unnecessarily complicated, and also at the same time, it's really dumb. Black Widow comes face to face with the big bad, but surprise, surprise, she can't attack him because he has a special pheromone that keeps any of the Black Widows from attacking him. And when I heard this, I said, fuck you, movie. You can't fight him because he has a special smell. Really? Get all the way the fuck out of here with that shit. When I was watching it, I was like, wow, this is a really long walk to her shooting him from across the room, because that's really all she has to do to get herself out of this situation. But no, she severed a nerve in her face so she wouldn't be able to use her sense of smell. I would have loved it if she missed the nerve at first and had to hit her head on the table like 6 more times. I did really like this fight scene afterwards though. It kind of felt like that Bruce Lee fight scene. I forget the name of the movie, but I'll put a clip here. Future me will take care of it. And this scene was like Fast and Furious level ridiculous, but it was fun. Later on the ground, Yelena leaves with the newly liberated Black Widow gang, while Natasha seemingly just waits around to get arrested by Thunderbolt Ross. But then later she's not arrested. But then she's like, I gotta go bust my friends out of jail. But so did you get arrested before, or did you manage to escape? Like what the fuck is happening in the end of this movie? It didn't totally ruin the whole flick for me, but the third act is kind of a fucking mess. It's like they made 2/3 of a really, really good movie, and then they were like, meh, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I know that's not true. There's no such thing as a perfect movie, and it's very, very, very hard to make a good movie, and this is just an example of that. Despite all of the problems I had with it, I really enjoyed Black Widow. My biggest gripe is really that I just wish the movie came out 5 years ago. I thought that movies like Winter Soldier were teeing up that tone, but here we are, 2 years after her death, and we're finally getting a Black Widow movie. So, yeah. A little late. We've been getting exposition about the Black Widow program in drips for years, and I was always interested in the idea of these movies delving more into that world and seeing how weird and fucked up it is, cause it's pretty weird and fucked up. And I really like that this movie gave us a little bit of a peek into that world. But for whatever reason, this is our first time getting a Black Widow movie that does it. Actually, I do know the reason. It's Ike Perlmutter. It's cause he's a sexist, racist piece of shit. I don't want to get into it. It's just Google it. He's terrible. Fuck him. He sucks. Fuck him. Espionage films have been more or less untapped in the MCU, and Black Widow would have been the perfect character to introduce all this kind of spy shit years ago, even before Winter Soldier. It does look like Julia Louis-Dreyfus is recruiting for her own little bad guy team, so it does seem like we're about to get more movies like this. The cast is pretty stacked and everyone is doing a great job. David Harbour, Rachel Weisz, they're all just doing great. Although, how does nobody, like, this isn't a story question, but why does everyone's Russian accent suck? It doesn't speak to the talent of these actors. Rachel Weisz is an Oscar winner and one of my favorite actors of all time, but she sounds like fucking Bjork in this movie. I'm genuinely curious, do these flicks not have dialect coaches, or do they not have a lot of time with them? Apart from Tessa Thompson and Chadwick Boseman, no one in these movies have convincing accents. Whatever, that's just a nitpick. But something I kind of forgot about before I watched this movie, since Black Widow hasn't played a prominent role in these Marvel movies since Winter Soldier, is that I never really liked Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. I do like ScarJo as an actress. She's had some wonderful performances, but I just never really found her that interesting as Black Widow. In my opinion, her character is just kind of blah in most of these movies, and that doesn't really change in this film. The real star of this movie is Florence Pugh as Yelena.
You know, this is the first piece of clothing I've ever bought for myself.
I like your vest.
God, I knew it. I knew you did. It's so cool, right?
Let's go.
Yelena is so much fun. She's fucking rad, dude. And Florence Pugh has such screen presence. She is acting her ass off in this comic book movie. She's also the most relatable character in the movie, despite being absolutely outside of her mind.
This would be a cool way to die.
She actually reminds me a lot of Jodie Comer's character from Killing Eve.
You don't have my passport.
Yes, I do.
Hey!
Your photo is hilarious.
Stop it, I was young then.
Your hair.
I don't know if it's a product of writing, acting, or both, but Yelena is way more interesting than Natasha ever was. I kind of liked her in Winter Soldier, and not to speak ill of the fictional dead, but for the most part, she's a pretty forgettable character. I did really like that time everybody was trying to lift Thor's hammer, and she was like,
Oh, no, that's not a question I need answered.
that was pretty cool. And then there was that time when she was like,
Fat.
and that scene was cute.
Shall we play a game? It's from a movie that was
I
really
know.
popular.
Myself.
I guess she was pretty cool. I guess I take that back. R.I.P. Natasha. You were only boring most of the time. My ranking, I didn't love it. I did really like this movie, but I just want to emphasize how close it was to being one of my favorite Marvel movies before they completely fucked up the ending. Like, the ending is so weird. It's crazy because the first 2/3 was so good. Ah well, give Kate Shortland a Dark Avengers movie. It's too early to say where this ranks among my favorite Marvel movies, especially since we're getting like 5 more Marvel movies in the next 6 months. But after this movie, I can definitively rank without a doubt all of my favorite Black Widow hairstyles. Number 7, Black Widow. I don't know what's going on with her hair in this movie. Like, the cut isn't anything special, and there's a little braid in there. Like, is she on her way back from sleepaway camp? Why does she look like this? Number 6, Age of Ultron. This one and the Avengers cut are pretty much the same. Joss Whedon really liked this basic ass haircut for some reason. It looks fine. It does have the power to punch a Russian soldier, so there's that. Number 5, Endgame. She doesn't let her red hair grow into her blonde hair, but it's the end of the world. She don't give a fuck. She gets points for practicality though. Why don't any of the other women tie their hair back before they start fighting? Number 4, Civil War. This one is really nice, very classy. Number 3, Infinity War. Some people don't like the blonde hair. I like the blonde hair. Number 2, Iron Man 2. Okay, Natasha went to the shop and got a perm. Again, it's unpractical as hell in a fight, but she looked good. She should just bring a scrunchie into battle with it. Number 1, Winter Soldier. I don't know why, but this is my favorite Black Widow cut. It's just magnificent. It also just feels like it fits her character the most. I guess it says a lot that I think that other than in this movie, Winter Soldier is the movie where we get to know the most about what kind of person Natasha is.
I don't know. The truth is a matter of circumstance. It's not all things to all people, all the time. Neither am I.
It's a tough way to live.
It's a good way not to die, though.
Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe and all that good shit. Loki is all wrapped up, so I'll be doing a review of that soon. I'm also going to be talking about some cartoons I really like. Oh, and that new Space Jam is out, so I'll probably talk about that too. But we'll get to that later. Go enjoy yourself. Say hello to your mother. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of Sopranos lately. Stay safe, my little pheromones, and may the force be with you.